Okay, I am back now. I have a plate of, or a little bowl of food here that Kat is going to snack on, although he's gotten confused and gone elsewhere at the moment. So I want to show you real quickly before he figures out the food has arrived. While I had the video paused, I went ahead. I have my fluids drawn up in my syringe. I actually have two syringes ready to go here. So I have my fluids drawn up in the syringe. I have my longer line, the one that I didn't take out of the package to show you, attached to my syringe. And I have my fresh needle attached to this. This is the needle that I'm going to use on my cat. There is, on the line that I have purchased, there's this extra little clamp thing floating around. I never use this. There are, I guess, times when you could, but I found a way of working through this where I've never needed it. There are, I will say, I forgot to mention, there are basically two different kinds of these extension lines. There's this plain line that I have that has nothing extra on it. And then there's another kind of line that's similar to the long ones that are used in like the drip method, where you have an extra injection port on them. I found that only having two hands and trying to do this, having one with an injection port has never been helpful for me. So if I need to push additional meds during the fluid session, like if I were giving some B complex or B12 or some other subcutaneous medicine, what I would do is just have that drawn up into a syringe where I could just attach to this line instead of attaching or injecting through a port, because then I can just use my normal method for changing syringes. Kat has made his way back here, so you're going to see he's going to dig in. And then all we're going to do, because he is a very good model for this, I've already run fresh, warm fluids through my line, so everything's primed and ready to go. So the same as you would do for any cat, and this is the same in all the videos, you're going to just tent the skin, pop the needle in. In his case, the needle is in and we are ready to go. So now I'm just going to push the fluids here. You can't really see it, but what I'm doing is I'm sort of pulling down on the sides of the plunger because the top of it is a little too far for my thumb to reach. So I'm just pulling down on the sides here. The plunger is moving, but we're not at full speed yet. Now I can get my finger up over the plunger and we can really push this one. So we are moving pretty quickly here. We've already got 25 milliliters into Cat. This part of the process can go as quickly or as slowly as you need it to. You can turn the syringe over and push it against a hard surface. I don't like to do that in case there's any air bubbles that have formed inside the syringe for any reason. Holding it inverted this way will keep the air bubbles at the top of the plunger, so there's no danger of them going through the line. The other thing I found that works if it's going really hard is you can push it against a solid portion of your chest. But now we are actually at the important part that I want to show you. My plunger is all the way down. So what I want to do here, I normally keep the needle or my hand around the needle in my Cat just to make sure that there's not a problem. And then what I do is I fold this line right at the base of the hard plastic where the line meets it, and then just twist the syringe off. So now I've got the line pinched, so I'm not going to get any air bubbles in there. And then twist the new syringe on, let go of the little clamp that I did with my fingers, and then we just keep pushing and go to town on this plunger. I'm not sure, it doesn't really look like it's moving very quickly, but I've already done, that is 20 milliliters since I switched the syringes. And this is just getting a little hard on my hand to push. So I'm going to push against my chest. I think you can still see the syringe moving there. Important thing if you push against your chest is to find a bony spot. And we are finished. That is the bottom with the plunger. Pull the needle out. I like to hold the hole and give a little bit of a massage here to help the fluids all settle in. And then Cat is just going to sit up here and finish his treats while I basically just disassemble what I've done. Now, my used needle, I put it straight into my sharps container. I never want to see that needle again. The line, what I'll do is I will pinch it off. Here's how I pinch it when I'm switching syringes during the fluid session. So I'll pinch the line off so that I don't get any major air bubbles in it. Not that an air bubble would really matter at this point. And then for storage, because I'm going to reuse this line, what I do is I take the end that was connected to the syringe and the end that was connected to the needle, and I twist them together. These will lock together in place because they're the male and female ends of a Luer lock system, which is the type, Luer lock is the type of syringes that I have and the type of hypodermic needles that I have, although I just threw away the one I was going to use to show you. I store this line with the fluids in it just to help prevent any bacteria from growing between sessions. What I do with these is I follow sort of the same method that you would for a line attached to an IV bag. Typically, you would use one line for one IV bag. So if it takes you 10 sessions to get through an IV bag, you would use your line on the bag 10 times. So I typically use a fresh line anytime I get a fresh bag of fluids. I also use fresh syringes every time I get a fresh bag of fluids. So those are the things that I keep around from session to session. And then once I start a new bag, I toss the old things and start a new set. But if at any point I feel like if something happened and the tip of my syringe touched something where I'm not sure it's sterile anymore, I'll toss the syringe and get a new one. If I'm ever concerned with the sterility of the line, I'll toss it and get a fresh one. When I store these syringes, I make sure that there's no fluids left in them, and then I pull the plunger all the way down. I've found that they seem just to do better in storage. They'll dry out completely if the plunger is completely open, rather than if I tried leaving it closed. So I will store these completely open. And my system that I have, because I do everything on this one counter, is I have this giant storage box here that you can't see very well because it's clear and my lighting is terrible. But I store these syringes, I store my line in there, and I also usually store my kit that has my extra lines and various extra needles in it in there. I keep everything that I need in this little kit that has some nice little dividers because I also have one cat who just absolutely refuses to cooperate with fluids. So he only gets his when he goes into the vet. And because they use my supplies, it's really easy for me to just grab my box of lines and needles. They actually do the drip method with him. So I have a separate bag that I use for him that has an IV line attached, but I've got all the various needles in here that I take to the vet with me. So I just grab it and go with this and my bag with the line attached. And that is that. So that's what I do for any given session. If you have any questions or concerns about anything, let me know. I can try and give some better answers or maybe make another video if there's something that you need a demonstration on. But I do hope this helps for anyone who is thinking that they might want to do the syringe method or thinking it might work better for them and their cat. So I guess that's it. Bye.